Hello, good day. Welcome to Symptometry, Root Cause Therapeutics Instructional Kitchen Videos. Today we're going to make the Therapeutic ginger drink. For this recipe you need about 1/2 pound of ginger. So that's this amount. And a helpful thing to do is you can utilize the scale in the store that you buy it from. If you buy more than 1/2 pound at a time, you can weigh out the different amounts. But this is roughly how much it is. So for the sake of time, I have already prepared some of it. So you're going to, on a clean cutting board, you're going to take your roots and peel them. So we just peel like so, separating all the little parts. There really are many places where the skin collects, so you'll want to be diligent in cleaning your ginger. And there's also oftentimes a lot of earth left in the crevices, so just take your time, invest it. Average kitchen peeler will do. These are, I think, $1.50. They're really, really good. It's helpful if you're going to be doing this to invest in the right tools, and because it's less awkward and less chance of injury. So I just encourage you to get the right tools. So I'm not using this piece in this recipe because I've already measured out mine. But an important thing to note is because it's circular, and you're going to have a lot more danger when you're dicing ginger. So I always like to slice anything that's rounded in half, so you have a flat surface to then cut on. And ginger is a very tough rhizome, so you're going to definitely have to put a lot of strength into dicing it up. So you'll slice it, and then you'll dice it, and get it in there. The blender, thankfully, is going to do a lot of this work for us. This is part of my measurement, so this is going in. It's recommended that you separate it into 3 parts if your blender is having issues. My blender's older, so I'm going to take that recommendation. So that's 1/4 cup. So it's 1/2 cup of ginger to 1/2 cup of water ratio. And if you can see, I'm glancing at my recipe. I recommend that everybody keep the recipe in the kitchen with them while they're working. It's a very exact process, and rather than being in doubt, check out the recipe, figure out what's going on. So you add it in, and you're going to dice on pulse. There's different settings. So you're going to chop up the ginger before adding the water. And then once it's chopped up a bit, I add my 1/2 cup of water. Have my timer set for 1 minute. We're going to blend. So our 1 minute is up, and the reason why I do that, so we can kind of work together in the kitchen in case you don't have a timer, you can just do it exactly with me. And so this is a clean glass jar and a clean mesh bag that I'm using. We're going to avoid metal in all the preparations that we're making for the therapeutic drinks because it affects the outcome and the properties of the beverage. So if you don't have a bag, that's totally fine. You can use a nylon strainer. This just happens to be what I have. And as I mentioned when we first started, I'm dividing this recipe into 3 parts. So I'm just going to empty the contents in and then repeat. So 1/2 cup of ginger, and 1/2 cup of water, 1 minute. And again, we're pouring the contents of the blender into the bag and repeating one final time. So we have our remaining ginger and our last bit of water. Last time. Sorry for the beeping. All right, so set this here, and then very importantly, I have a bowl of warm soapy water here. So I'm going to wash my hands, and in your kitchen you're going to want to go to your sink and wash your hands. You'll wash your hands before squeezing out the juice. So whether you're using a nylon strainer, or if you are following along with me using a jelly bag, you're going to want to wash your hands before squeezing out your juice. And now we're moving on to this part. I like it, keeps it nice and neat. And we get started squeezing it out, get a lot of it out. I like to do this for a couple reasons. It cuts down on the mess in the kitchen. You don't have to wash an additional bowl that you strained into. I also use these handy extra wide funnels, which are helpful. A lot of people use them for canning and different things. They're widely available. It just gives you a little bit more room to work, to just use your strength and get all the goodness out of there. And then you don't have anything extra to wash except for the funnel, so that works out well. And I think for the purposes of this video, we'll say we got everything out of this when you just really can't do it anymore. And then another really important thing about putting it in a glass jar is oftentimes glass jars have metal tops, and so if your beverage hits that while you're shaking it, you're going to want to avoid that. You're going to have just destroyed all the work that you did. So if you do choose a glass jar, make sure that you have some top that is plastic. These are sold, these are alternative canning lids. These are widely available as well. with your glass jars. They usually are sold in the same section. They're really easy to find. And I'm just reviewing my recipe one last time. And the final step is adding the Sympto honey, or I should say the second to last is adding the Sympto honey to the juice. This we made in a previous video. So it is 5 teaspoons of honey measured with a plastic measuring spoon, and 1 teaspoon of rice vinegar as well, measured with your plastic measuring spoon. Stirred for 30 seconds, and then you have your Sympto honey. So we had ours all ready for us, and then it's also recommended that you add additional water. So you can add a half of a cup or a whole cup, depending on the beverage and your desired strength of the beverage. For our family, I am going to add in a whole cup of water. And this isn't something that you're going to be drinking 8 ounces of at a time, so be mindful of the recommendations, even though it is really delicious. And so you're going to mix everything together with a plastic spoon is recommended. So I'm just going to put our little honey jar spoon back in here. So again, you have your timer. So you're going to just set your timer. And you're going to stir for 30 seconds. It's fun to be exact in the kitchen. There's lots of tools and ways. And this is just a very empowering way. It's a wonderful recipe shared with us by the founder of Symptometry, a preparation that we can make in our own home to turn our kitchen into a therapeutic healing kitchen. And this beverage is very inexpensive and extremely powerful. And there we go, 30 seconds. Put your top on, and you might want to enjoy it right away, but it is also recommended that you allow the beverage to sit for 30 minutes before consuming. So be sure to refrigerate your beverage in an airtight glass container or a ceramic container, and this is potent for about 4 days. Thank you for joining us for these instructional videos, and we look forward to bringing you more in the future.